Welcome to Buffalo Sabres Facebook Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Western New York. Great to see Sam Reinhart. Sam, I feel like it's been a while, and it's nice to see you coming off a couple of goals yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, as you know, this is a good opportunity for the fans to indulge and ask their questions of you. So we'll get right to it and start with Haley and Tessa, who fired in from Instagram and just really wanted to know how long you've been playing the game and your favorite part about playing here in Buffalo.
As long as I can remember. Obviously my dad played and my two older brothers played. So, my parents always remind us that the first day I was brought home from the hospital when I was born. My parents couldn't find me, and my brothers had me upstairs in the playroom shooting balls on me against the wall. So been playing for my whole life, obviously, and best part about playing Buffalo is the people, the energy of the city, and obviously the guys that I share the locker room with. The camaraderie. It's a great group of guys, and really enjoy playing.
It's obviously different everywhere, literally everywhere right now, Sam. But what is it like on a daily basis from a difference standpoint for game day prep and for everything you just said about embracing the vibe, if you will, of a sports fan in this city?
Game days are relatively normal. I think it's every other day that comes with it. Obviously it's the masking, it's the social distancing. But I think life on the road, you start to notice it a little bit more. You're not going out to eat a lot of the time in the hotel, stuff like that. But game days, it's all pretty normal. And when you're at the rink, you're doing the same sort of things. You're just being a little more cautious and wearing masks.
As it pertains to, what you just said, being on the road and restaurants or lack thereof, Riley from Instagram wanted to know if you have any game day rituals or superstitions.
Not really. I have a pretty set routine for sure. When you play this many games, it's tough not to. But superstitions, not too many. For me, I find if you start getting down that road, things go wrong because you can't always be the same. It gets in your head. So I try and stay away from them. But for sure, you get into a routine, and there's a lot of things that I do that are consistent throughout the year.
Would there have been routines in different cities, i.e. restaurants that you typically would go to?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. There's quite a few good ones on the road. So unfortunately, it's a little bit different experience when you're Uber Eatsing it and door dashing into the hotel every night.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your go-to pregame meal? Madison wants to know.
Maybe a big salad. Mix it up on the salad a little bit. Start with that. A little chicken, a little pasta, mashed sweet potatoes, some broccoli. Got all that in there, and usually good to go.
Pretty consistent in that regard as far as pre-games?
Yeah, I think so. Change it up in the styles, but all pretty standard.
But how does it then change in off days? And not that you're going to have any lengthy breaks this year now between games, but if you were to say go into a 2 or a 3 or a 4 day off, do you try to replenish in different ways and try to mix it up as far as variety and things like that? Or is there something that you feel like your body needs to help recover?
Yeah, absolutely. Around game times, night before games, I think everyone's sort of different in how they approach and how they feel, after certain meals and whatnot. But I'll stay away from the red meat the night before games and the day of games. But certainly want to get that fixed when I have a couple days off.
Sounds like, I'm guessing that you're similar to some of the other guys in that regard.
Yeah, there's for sure. There's certainly some other guys that go along those lines, but there's other guys that will never cut out their steak the night before the game. They just like it too much, and it doesn't affect them. So,
right.
Whether it does affect you or it's in my head, it's just the way it is.
What's your favorite Sabres memory? Hannah would like to know.
Favorite Sabres memory. There's a couple of good ones. Probably the Winter Classic was a really cool experience to be a part of. Obviously seeing the outdoor games now going on, it's something that you kind of look back and reminisce about.
Did you follow the Lake Tahoe experience on Saturday?
I did. Obviously the conditions weren't up to par. I didn't see how it panned out in the late night play. It was late, obviously, on the East Coast here, but
yeah.
Obviously the pictures you hope are worth it for those guys that are playing. But just hope no one got hurt on that ice, and it worked out.
Yeah, it was really great last night. By the time they got back on, the ice was terrific. The game was exceptional, as you would expect, and here's hoping for more of that moving forward. Do you play video games much? An anonymous fan wanted to know, and if so, what?
Not much. The only console I would have is my Nintendo Switch that I play on the road a lot and on planes. During quarantine wasn't making Oposos and myself, significant others, very happy when we were playing that online with each other. But other than that, not a big gamer. Just stick to Mario Kart for the most part, and I think most of the game stopped from there for me.
Sports idol growing up?
First one was probably Drew McGinley. Was a big Flames fan growing up. Liked watching them a lot. And obviously he was the player I watched the most. And then as I got a little bit older, I got into soccer more. To this day, it's probably Lionel Messi has been my favorite athlete of all time. So
Mike wanted to know that, and Tanner wants to know why you went with 23.
My dad wore it when he played. So it was never too picky about numbers, so it just seemed like an easy choice.
Did your dad have a preference of which team you rooted for, Calgary or Vancouver, among his previous stops?
He had no care whatsoever what team we rooted for at that time. Unfortunately, he was done before my brothers and I were all born. It just kind of worked randomly enough. At one point, I was a Calgary fan, Griffin was a Vancouver fan, and Max was actually a Thrashers fan. And my dad had played there 1 year before they relocated to Calgary. So just randomly enough worked out that way.
That's amazing. Well, I hope that I know you do, but it still fascinates me when guys are ascending, from the defense position specifically, and they hit some milestones. And I always put your dad into that context because he has very much Hall of Fame type numbers. And it's hard to get past that, honestly, Sam. Like when I watch you and I think of, how good your dad was, I just wonder how much that continues to influence you all these years later.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you obviously learn a lot from him growing up. He kind of switches more as in and out now than he did before. He's more in and out of a father, and then the odd time still as an instructor if I'm needing it. But he's more these days just as a fan watching, and but certainly learned a lot growing up, from what he knew from the game and what he learned from the game, and just randomly enough get that a lot, that we play same sort of style of game, and look pretty similar up there.
Well, this leads nicely into this question. Best advice you have for a young hockey player wanting to improve his game?
Best advice is probably just learn to enjoy the game and learn to enjoy the work that comes with it. If you're not enjoying what you're doing at the rink every day, you're not going to want to practice and get better and pursue it. So, I think just always try and have fun and take each experience as a learning curve, and try and be better from it.
Last one goes to Andrew. How do you like your steak?
Ribeye, medium rare.
Perfect. Sam, thank you for this.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Best of luck the rest of the way in this very compressed schedule. And our thanks to Blue Shield of Western New York for presenting this Facebook Live.